In the heart of a prestigious university, where knowledge flowed like a river and ambition ran deep, there was a girl named Ada. She was breathtakingly beautiful, her radiant smile, her enchanting eyes, her graceful movements, all of it could captivate anyone who laid eyes on her. But beauty, as it often does, masks darker things. For Ada, her charm was not just a blessing, it was a weapon, one forged in darkness. The boys on campus, fresh, innocent, eager for adventure, could not resist her allure. They were drawn to her as if by some unseen force, their hearts beating faster every time she walked by. At first, it was all innocent. They would dream of winning her affection, of taking her hand in theirs. But Ada had other plans. You see, Ada was no ordinary girl. Beneath her beauty, there was something far more ancient and terrifying. Ada had the power to change, literally. When the moon was high, and the night was at its darkest, she would transform into something monstrous, something no human could imagine, a giant snake, a serpent of the deep, with eyes that glowed like the very core of the ocean. But the ocean was not just a place. It was a kingdom that Ada had been bound to since birth. Beneath the campus, far below the earth, was a hidden world, a world of water, of ancient creatures, and of a terrifying queen. Ada, in her human form, was a servant of this queen, bound to bring souls to the depths. Every time a boy fell under her spell, Ada would lead him to the lake. They would walk together by the water, drawn by her beauty, hypnotized by her charm. But when they reached the shore, Ada would transform, her body slithering into the water, pulling them down with her. Beneath the surface, the boys would undergo a transformation, changing into strange half-human, half-maiden creatures, their bodies merging with the sea. They became part of the Queen Mother's dark army. The Queen Mother, an ancient serpent goddess, ruled the underwater kingdom. Her hunger was insatiable. She thrived on human babies, feeding on the life force of the innocent. And Ada, as her most trusted servant, was her key to bringing the boys from the land to satisfy her insatiable hunger. Some of these boys were lost forever, their minds and bodies taken by the sea. They had no will of their own. But others, those who dared to enter the queen's domain, would engage in rituals with the marine goddesses. These rituals were dark, forbidden, and twisted. The goddesses would take the boys, and in return, the boys would bear children, half human, half maiden hybrids, creatures meant to serve the queen. For years, Ada carried out her duties, bringing boy after boy to the depths, watching them transform, watching them lose their humanity. Each boy who fell for her beauty became just another offering, just another soul lost to the dark powers of the sea. But as the years passed, something changed. Ada, too, began to feel the weight of what she had become. The beauty that had once seemed so alluring now felt like a prison. The power she wielded over the boys, the lives she had destroyed, slowly, it began to eat away at her soul. She saw the emptiness in their eyes as they returned, altered, no longer human. She felt the darkness growing in her own heart, as if the very sea was taking over her. One night, as the darkness began to close in on her, Ada heard a voice unlike any she had ever heard before. It was a voice of light, of power, of salvation. A man of God had come to the campus, sensing the evil that lurked beneath the surface. His name was Pastor David, a man who had seen darkness before but never one like this. He came to the lake, armed with nothing but his faith. He had seen a vision of the boys who had disappeared, of the strange changes they had undergone. He prayed, calling on the name of the Lord, commanding the darkness to leave. At first, Ada laughed, thinking that no mortal man could stop the queen's power. But as Pastor David's prayers grew louder, as his voice rose in defiance against the forces that had claimed her, Ada felt something shift within her. The water around her began to churn, the Queen Mother's power weakening. The battle between light and darkness raged. Ada's form flickered, shifting between her human and serpent shapes, but Pastor David's prayers were stronger. He called on the name of Jesus, and with each word, the chains that bound her began to break. The water grew calm, the glowing eyes of the Queen Mother dimmed, and the darkness that had once consumed Ada began to retreat. In that moment, Ada felt something she hadn't felt in years: freedom. The serpent form that had once defined her shattered, leaving only the girl who had been lost in the darkness. She collapsed to her knees, the weight of her actions and her curse lifting off her shoulders. Pastor David approached her, his hand extended, not in judgment, but in compassion. Ada took it, tears streaming down her face, knowing that she had been saved from the abyss, both literally and figuratively. She had been freed from the curse that had bound her to the Queen and to the depths of the ocean. And so, Ada's story came to an end, not in darkness, but in light. She was no longer the girl who had seduced the boys, no longer the servant of the Sea Queen. She was free. Sometimes, even the most beautiful souls can be led astray by darkness, their hearts ensnared by forces beyond their understanding. But even in the darkest of places, redemption is possible. Through faith, through courage, and through the strength of those who refuse to give up, even the deepest darkness can be overcome.